Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC weekend review for SportsNola.com, and of course, a disappointing conclusion to the Baton Rouge Super Regional. To the victors go the spoils, and Stony Brook deserves it. They were the better team, and they whipped LSU 7-2 in Game 3. And Lenny, it's a major disappointment for LSU players, coaches, fans, but the better team won.
No question about it. You and I were both up there and saw it, and I don't think there's any question. Stony Brook was the better team this weekend. And you know what I saw two totally different approaches up there. I saw an LSU team that was playing tighter, and maybe, those 10,000 people in the stands were playing to their disadvantage. The expectation of having won so many regionals, so many super regionals in their own ballpark. And Stony Brook just played loose and easy for 2 weeks, really. They did it in Coral Gables and kept it right up in Baton Rouge. In reality, this probably should have been a 2-game series, and it should have been over. Some good fortune helped LSU get this thing into the 12th inning and then win the continuation on Saturday. But then beyond that, it was all Stony Brook.
Yeah, no question they were the best team. Should have won in the first 2 games. We detail it in our blog at sportsnola.com. But LSU had a chance because they had 2 outstanding starting pitchers, and Aaron Nola and Kevin Gausman. And Paul Mainieri made a bold move. It was the right move to make on Saturday. I don't know how anyone could question what he did, and it worked out perfectly because he likely wouldn't have continued with Gausman after that 1 inning if the game had been extended.
Well, he might have stayed out there, but here's one of the things that Paul Mainieri brought up in the post-game presser Saturday is that there was a forecast to rain, and indeed about 2:30, 3 o'clock, it rained. The forecast really called for it to be about 1 o'clock that there was going to be a big shower. Well, if you wait and you only get 2 or 3 innings out of him, much what happened with NC State with Carlos Rodon yesterday, the outstanding freshman pitcher. 2 years from now will probably be the number 1 pick in the draft if he stays healthy. It's a situation where you want to maximize what you're going to get. And what he got was a solid inning, gave him a little bit of a break there until the next game started, much like a short rain delay or a long inning, and then he went back out and gave you 7 more. He threw about 110 pitches for the day, a normal outing for a starting pitcher, so it really wasn't a problem, and he was trying to make sure he got as much as he could out of Gausman. He didn't want to run him out there for maybe 3 innings, and then all of a sudden it rained, and he was done for the regional at that point.
Absolutely the right move, and it paid off, and it nearly paid off handsomely. Gausman pitched well in that second game, but LSU can't hit. They could not hit against pitching that was good pitching, but average arms, Lenny. These are not strikeout pitchers. You could put the ball in play against them. LSU's offense finally caught up with them.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? If you remember back early in the year, LSU, I think second, third weekend of the season, faced Appalachian State. Lost 2 out of 3. Won the first game, lost the next 2, and had nothing on offense for those last 2 games. And everybody's saying, what's wrong with this team? Well, finally, the ship got righted, largely in part to what Rafe Rhymes did. When Rhymes got it going, it made the rest of the lineup better because Rhymes was hitting everything. You had to be careful with everyone else because you didn't want men on base. And, it lifted up the whole team. Well, look what happened here late in the year. Rhymes struggled again. Hey, you can't expect him to keep up the pace he was going at for an entire year, but he picked the wrong time of the year to start to slip back a little bit. And what ends up happening, it's an LSU team that struggled offensively really down the stretch. I mean, you go back even to last weekend. Yeah, they got some runs on the board against Louisiana Monroe and against Oregon State. But after the first inning of the regional championship game, LSU did not put up another crooked number over the remainder of those 4 games that they played.
And got out hit 35-15. Stony Brook left 31 on base to 21 for LSU. They totally dominated offensively in this series. So you move forward and you have Aaron Nola back, who should be able to slot into Friday night. He's that kind of pitcher. You have, of course, Ryan Eads back, who needs to find his form of earlier in the season. Kurt McCune needs to rebound. Jacoby Jones needs to rebound. And you need to recruit. It's all about talent, Lenny, and they did not have anywhere near the kind of talent they had in 2009.
No, this is not the type of talent. You look at this team, and yeah, there were probably 2 or 3 guys that may end up in the big leagues off of this team, starting, of course, with Kevin Gausman. But, again, maybe you see a guy like Austin Nola who could be that kind of guy. Who knows? Maybe Aaron Nola ends up being a big leaguer one day. We'll see how this all plays out. But this is not the type of LSU team that we've seen in the past where you saw, the potential for 6 or 7 big league guys coming off of it.
Yep. And, of course, where local sports is concerned, Voodoo lost a tough game, 1 yard short this past Saturday night against San Antonio. Zephyrs are at home against Oklahoma City. So the focus turns toward those two entities, at least for a little bit.
For a little bit, we're, I think, 7 weeks from today is the start of Saints training camp. It's not that far away.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where we're at with local sports. This is what we call kind of our slower period, but it's never slow at sportsnola.com. Best site on the web, sportsnola.com. And don't forget, check out our Sports NOLA TV Spotlight, which is on Monday nights at 6 p.m. on WHNO Channel 20, featuring some prominent former Saints. I know you'll enjoy those exposés and those entire biographies, if you will, of some very neat guys. Lenny, it's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Thanks. We'll see you Friday.
All right. That's been our first NBC Weekend Review for SportsNOLA.com. I'm Ken Trahan.